Whenever I've talked about Thomas and Friends in video memories, it's always from either a video or a DVD.
There is a third option.
Of course there's a third option! Let's talk about when Thomas and Friends aired on TV. Of course, there's a million channels across the television world where Thomas has aired, in multiple languages no doubt. So to keep it short and knowledgeable, I'm just going to cover the channels I've witnessed in my lifetime. So let's start at the beginning with ITV, the first channel to run Thomas and Friends dating back to 1984. I remember watching season 6 on Children's ITV or CITV when it first aired in 2002. I have no evidence to support this, but it's my series, so I don't need evidence. Speaking of no evidence, let's talk once more about Cartoon Network.
And now, back to Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends on Cartoon Network.
The series ran on this channel from 1995 to 2001, essentially being the premier source for seasons 4 and 5. Did I watch it here? I don't know, but knowing my extensive history with Cartoon Network, I would not be surprised in the absolute slightest if that were the case. Then there's Channel 5, specifically the morning block Milkshake.
The children will be excited.
They should be. We've got brand new Thomas and Friends. There's some old friends.
Hello, Thomas.
And some new ones.
That's right.
So make sure you jump on board. Brand new Thomas and Friends tomorrow on Milkshake.
This is where brand new episodes of Thomas and Friends have aired since season 10 ran in 2006. It continues to run new episodes of the CGI series to this very day. I remember very well seeing season 12 air on this channel in 2008. I was away on holiday when Thomas and the Billboard ran, and I doubt I was able to catch the regular episodes every morning. But I remember getting straight onto YouTube in the afternoon to check every episode out. I had learned that the Michaels were there to stay rather than Pierce Brosnan, and they were trying something new involving animation, so I was filled with particular enthusiasm for this one. And finally, we get to the channel I know best when it comes to Thomas and Friends.
Nick Jr. is proud to announce the arrival of a very special engine, Thomas the Tank Engine. Blow a whistle and wave a flag. It's your chance to drive with Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James and Percy.
Hurry up, please.
The engines are proud to run the line, come rain or shine.
Well done, boys. Keep it up.
It's a children's classic, inviting you to join the engines in their world of adventures. Join Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends on Nick Jr.
Just for me.
Here we go. Nick Jr. began airing Thomas in 1999, and if I wasn't watching the series on Cartoon Network, I sure as shit was tuning into Nick. I remember it well. Back in those days, Thomas and Friends ran 3 times a day, 8 AM, 12 PM and 4 PM, each time running the same set of episodes for 25 minutes. Of course, back in those days, I was more than content to watch the same stuff more than once, so I made a decision. Watch the episodes first at 8 AM before school, ignore the 12 PM airing, and record it all at the 4 PM airing when I get home in the afternoon. Great plan, foolproof. And it was this very video that I used to record everything. My spelling was atrocious when I was 6 years old. Let's see how well it holds up.
Scotland's big film premiere, Heat.
Oh yeah, great. It holds up great. It holds up as well as good old-fashioned TV static. Ain't it great? I managed to dig this up in 2017 to hopefully show off to YouTube. I ransacked my old bedroom, dug out a few videos, including this one, as well as this ancient as fuck VCR. No, seriously, this thing is almost as old as me. After discovering only my living room TV would function properly with the VCR, I popped this video in and discovered nothing but static. Either I taped over it at some point in the past 19 years, or this video has just aged like milk left out in the summer heat. I lean towards option A because if it has aged like milk, it's aged worse than Singing Kettle Pirates, the first video I ever owned in my entire life. You hear that? My VCR had a heart attack trying to run this video. This tape is from 1995 and it's aged terribly, and yet it still runs better than the Nick Jr. video. So at least I can talk about the recording process. The video began halfway through Percy Runs Away. I was super terrible at timing things. And I assure you, it'll get worse. It began with Percy Runs Away, and where it ends involves a certain amount of guesswork. The tape ran for 3 hours and 3 minutes, 183 minutes altogether. We need to assume I didn't miss a single episode. I was a massive fan after all. Next, we need to determine whether or not I recorded either the opening or the closing credits. I record only the episode and the tape runs out at Thomas, Percy and the Dragon. I record the episode and either the opening or the closing credits. We end at Time for Trouble. In the highly unlikely event of me recording the episode and both sets of credits, we end at the beginning of Woolly Bear. I guarantee that last one didn't happen, but hey, it probably helps to list every option. At the end of the day, it means sod all to me. The video's blank, and many years later, I tried to continue my collection of recorded content, beginning with none of the above.
Coasting down the hill, running easily with the wind whistling past. Suddenly, it was a god's warning whistle.
What did I tell you? Great timing. Of course, there are a few Nick Jr. blocks to talk about. First up, we have Noggin. This was a nightly 2-hour period where the popular classics were aired. This sounds vaguely familiar.
Cartoon!
Very similar, but nowhere near as good. Noggin ran from May 2004 until September 2005, and I'm pretty sure it only ran the first 7 seasons. Classics after all. I know I remember watching this one because I have the proof that shows it. It even appeared in Recordable Fridays. I was even able to record a few episodes onto DVD as well. Just look at that. Wait a minute. This is the wrong Noggin. There was a second Noggin, launched in 2009. It may have been a reboot of the Nick Jr. Noggin, I don't know. It ran on a channel called TMF, The Music Factory. Why a channel relating to MTV would air Thomas and Friends, I have no idea. What I do know is that the channel also aired an obscure cartoon that really pissed off my mother. A year and a half after the beginning, the block was renamed Nick Jr. Classics, but the process remained the same.
You're watching Nick Jr. Classics. Coming up next is Thomas the Tank Engine.
1 episode per night, every night. I watched regularly back in the early days. Go figure. After doing a bit of research, Thomas was removed from Classics in 2009 and the block ended in 2010. I remember none of that. Although to be fair, my mind was elsewhere at the time. 4 words, kids.
This is Cartoon Network.
Speaking of which, before we call it a day, there is one more thing to mention with Nick Jr. And it involves this video from Cartoon Network. I know this might seem confusing, but just go with me on this one. It's June 2005 and I had just spent a weekend in Lochgelly, thus recording 8 hours of Cartoon Network. I turn on Nick Jr. just for the hell of it, and this is what I see.
This Sunday, Thomas is having a party. Start the day in celebration with party episodes from all your friends. Then at 12 o'clock, my party starts with Thomas and Friends stories one after the other until 6 p.m. My wife will make the cakes and sandwiches, and I'll be supervising the decorations. All the other engines are coming, and I'd like you to be there too. Join Thomas and Friends for Thomas's party, today at 12 p.m. on Nick Jr.
6 hours of Thomas and Friends? Holy shit. There was just one tiny problem. I only had 1 recordable tape, and I'd already used it the night before. Well, I'm certainly not going to miss this. I hopped on a train, because shortcut home. As soon as I reached home, straight into the VCR went this video. It wasn't completely to waste, the only public recording of this 6-hour marathon, and I caught 2.5 hours of it. It was 13 years ago, so I can't quite remember the entire marathon, but according to a YouTube comment, it was mostly Season 5 and 6 content. I think we need more than 6 hours to get through every single episode. I mean, if we're talking about just the first 7 seasons, we're looking at least 15 hours, and that's without ad breaks every 20 minutes. Jesus, we've covered a lot here. And a fair bit of it was relating to Cartoon Network. I got an idea.
Coming up next, it's Mouse Mayhem and Cat Cavortings. Tom and Jerry, here on Cartoon Network.